Alright, what's up everybody? So, the patch notes have dropped. Version 1.18 is coming this Friday. And we gotta talk about the man, Happy Chaos, of course. So, is he cooked, right? Is he dead? Is he no longer viable? Well, the short answer is he's still very viable. Probably top tier, but there's some nerfs to him that you should know whether you play him or you hate him. So the big thing that they wanted to concentrate was concentration, right? They made it so concentration when you refill would vary depending on how far you are. So we don't know exactly how much he gains if he's max green or how much he gains if he's up close, but it does vary. So the zoning will be less, right? But the thing is, he still has Guard Crush. Guard Crush still exists. So the zoning can still be obtained, right? But it is not, it doesn't last as long, right? So he still has a super and stuff like that. So that will still be able to get a lot of shots off. And, you know, the shots still do Guard Crush, so it does a lot of chip. So it still exists. It's just not as, you can't maintain it as well. Maybe on certain matchups, maybe like Nago level 2, or like a Gold Lewis, it might still be viable, but against the rest of the cast, it's probably not a good idea to be zoning for too long. But besides that, what else did they nerf about him? So they nerfed mainly just overall the zoning stuff. They nerfed Scapegoat, which is the clone. So now it depletes more health from you. And apparently the properties will vary if you're at low HP. So you can't really spam it, or we'll see. I don't know what does properties vary now mean. So basically it's probably worse if you have less health available to you. And Curse now will be taken away if Happy Chaos takes damage, which is actually just really good for the mirror. There are a lot of times in the mirror where I'll hit Happy Chaos, but he gets Curse off of me. And then if I run out of like fuel first, he could just hit me instantly because I'm still applied with Curse. So for the most part, it doesn't really matter too much. Other matchups, maybe a little bit. But you know, if you ever get hit and you're Happy Chaos, usually it results in a combo, and the opponent character will have Curse be removed anyway. So it's like a very, very slight nerf. The Scapegoat nerf could be quite big. It depends how much health it takes away from you. And then concentration nerf, kinda, to the zoning. But so like mainly 2 minor nerfs and 1 possibly big nerf. The only other nerf they have is at the ready, which is the gun flip. Basically the damage is not going to be so insane as it used to be, which is fine. I think that was the big thing they needed to take away from him was the damage on some stuff. So at the ready and steady aim shots have a little bit less damage, which I think is fair. I think his damage is absolutely absurd. But what did he get, right? It's not all nerfs, right? This is why I'm saying he's top tier still. So, his buttons, right? Some of his buttons are a little bit better. His 5K and his 2K are better. So the 2K has decreased knockback, which means 2K 2D will work more consistently. So a lot of times I'll just go for 2K 6K into the hard combo, but now 2K 2D will be a little more consistent, which is an easier combo and leads to more damage. And the 5K, which is a universal change, all 5Ks and all close slashes are now run cancelable, which means I can run cancel out of 5K and do like blue RC or do other shenanigans, right? So the 5K is still just as good, and it also has run cancel properties. So that's really good. And talking about the close S, his close S got reduced recovery, which is better for pressure. And his far S got reduced recovery and increased knockback and increased movement speed too. So that's another button on top of 2S is going to be really strong. Even though far S was pretty good, it was not as strong as 2S, but far S and 2S might both be equally as strong, which is really, really nice. And the other big thing is his jump 2K, which is like the hop kick. Reduce the attack startup, reduce recovery after the opponent was hit, and reduce the height of the bounce, which means the mix-ups with this is going to be really, really powerful. So he's going to be more of a mid-range character, a lot more footsie-based, way less zoning, and a lot more mix-ups thanks to this buff with the jump 2K. So he's still going to be very strong. And like, he pretty much does everything else. His buttons are really insane. His conversion ability is really insane. He still can zone you. He still can zone you. It's going to be a little bit less consistent, but it can still happen. And his buttons are still really good. So overall, he's probably going to still end up being top 5. Maybe people will drop him. Maybe some people will drop him just because you can't zone with him. So his steamroll on certain matchups and bad players are going to be a lot less. But, I mean, if you put the work in with Happy Chaos, he's still... I think he's a top 5 character still. It's going to be really, really hard to stop him. So, besides that, the only other things would be, like, the system mechanics, right? And other characters. So, like I said, the system mechanics... Jump P is another one that I forgot to mention. Jump P conversions are going to be a little bit more consistent, which is good because his Jump P is pretty solid. And because he has the gun, right? He has fire. Jump P conversions are going to be actually pretty viable. So that could also be quite useful on top of the close slash buff and the 5k buff. But besides that, character-wise, look at the characters. I'll probably talk about the characters a little bit more in depth. But in terms of matchup spread, Nago is kind of unchanged. He seems to be very much the same. And Zato got some buffs, which is kind of nutty. But these are two characters that Happy Chaos can beat, mainly because of the zoning. But he does go toe-to-toe in terms of footsies. And pressure is very good against them as well. So these are two characters that are definitely going to be on the rise, that are both very good, that traditionally do lose to Happy Chaos. So Happy Chaos could still be very useful against these two characters that are pretty buff right now. They could be top 2 in the game, possibly. On top of that, Leo and Ram also got some nerfs. So those matchups are pretty difficult for him. If you're not, like, depending on the skill level, using Happy Chaos against Leo especially could be very difficult. So some of the nerfs on Leo and Ram are pretty good. Besides that, the rest of the characters, you know, those are probably the main characters you want to look out for, right? Zato, Ram, Leo, Nago. And 2 of the characters, very powerful still, but Happy Chaos traditionally beats. And then Leo and Ram, which are usually 5/5s, they both got nerfed also. So it's not like Happy Chaos got fucked in the top tiers, right? All the top tiers, for the most part, got like slight nerfs or some buffs for some reason. I don't know why, but other characters on the rise. Jacko could be on the rise, but again, Happy Chaos does beat Jacko pretty well. Another character would be Baiken. I don't really like fighting Baiken. I think Baiken's kind of scary. So I'll have to wait and see on that one. Another one is Geo. Geo got some slight buffs, which could be difficult. So this matchup could be possibly a bad matchup. Maybe still 5/5. We have to wait and see. And then Soul got kind of cooked this patch, so Soul's probably going to be a little bit easier just because his damage is way worse. Some of his buttons are a little bit worse too, so that's going to be a big thing. Pot got cooked, which is kind of nutty. And for the rest of the matchups, you know, we'll have to wait and see. I think, right, like I mentioned, Epic Chaos still probably top 5, still very, very good. I will go over the other characters probably in a little bit. I'm definitely looking into Zato, Baiken, maybe some Nago to play as a secondary main. Just because some of the matchups spread could be a little bit different for Happy Chaos. It might be a little bit too difficult for me. Happy Chaos, you know, he is a tough character, so I might have to have a secondary main to back me up. But we'll have to wait and see. The patch drops on Friday, and we'll go a little bit more in depth on the Happy Chaos changes when we get to see exactly what it looks like in game. So that's it for me. I'll see you guys later.
この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。